Hey, today we are talking about something that has a massive impact on your hormones, energy, and even your mood. And once you understand what's happening inside your body with this chemical, you can make small shifts that will change everything. Welcome back to Renewed and Radiant. I'm Elsa Martin, functional nutritionist, weight loss practitioner, and your BFF to help you feel amazing. Today, we're walking through sugar, what it does to your brain, what it does to your hormones, and what it does to your gut. And most importantly, how to break the cycle. Because yes, it is possible. I've helped hundreds of women kick the sugar dragon to the curb. Let's start with the brain. Did you know that when sugar enters your system, the first place it hits before it even gets to your stomach is your brain, and it hits fast? Sugar spikes a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is your brain's reward chemical. It's the same chemical response triggered by things like gambling, alcohol, scrolling social media. And it feels good. You feel a little bit energized, maybe comforted, maybe a little bit happier at first. But here's the problem. Your brain adapts. Your dopamine receptors become less sensitive over time. So now your brain needs more sugar to get the same reward, which means cravings intensify over time, just like with any addiction. Sound familiar? You have one cookie and then suddenly you want three. Or you have a little dessert and then later at night you're in the pantry looking for something sweet again. That is brain chemistry, just like any addiction cycle. But then comes the crash. So when blood sugar drops after you have that sugar spike, your brain goes into a type of panic mode because cortisol rises, which is your stress hormone. And when cortisol rises, something interesting happens. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for discipline, decision making, and long term thinking, actually gets dialed down, which is suddenly why your brain says, I don't care. I just want to eat something sweet. Ever have those thoughts? Well, your impulse control literally drops. So the cycle looks something like this. You have some sugar, and then your dopamine surges. Then the dopamine drops, and then you have cravings because you have the blood sugar crash, and then cortisol spikes. Cortisol spike causes your impulse control to decrease, and suddenly you're in this loop of cravings, consuming, crashing, and craving again. And have you ever noticed that once you start with sugar, it's harder to stop? Yeah, we need to learn to slay the sugar dragon. That's chemistry, and it's also why sugar is added to so many processed foods, even foods that don't taste sweet, because manufacturers know sugar activates the reward pathways in the brain, and it keeps you coming back for more. So now let's talk about what sugar does inside the body. When we eat processed sugar, your blood sugar rises very quickly, and your body responds by releasing insulin to bring that blood sugar back down. And insulin has one main job. It's to help store energy, which means every time insulin spikes, your body shifts into fat storage mode, especially around the belly. Now, here's where it becomes even more important for us women over 40. As estrogen begins to shift during perimenopause and menopause, your insulin sensitivity changes too, which means the same foods that you could eat in your 20s and 30s, well, suddenly they start causing weight gain, bloating, fatigue, energy crashes. And many times as women, we think something is wrong with us. But really, what's happening is metabolism changes. So sugar also triggers inflammation in the brain and the body. And inflammation touches everything: your joints, your skin, your digestion, your hormones, your recovery. Inflammation is one of the biggest drivers of accelerated aging from the inside out. Plus, high sugar intake is linked to increased risk of several different types of cancer, including breast cancer, colorectal cancer, pancreatic cancer, endometriosis cancer, liver cancer, because high sugar intake increases insulin and chronic inflammation, which create an environment where those tumors can grow more easily. Sugar also disrupts multiple hormone systems at once. Cortisol rises, estrogen fluctuates, thyroid can slow down, hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin can get confused. so that you want to eat even though you aren't physically hungry, which means more sugar, which leads to more cravings, more hunger, more bloating, more fatigue. And eating sugar at night is especially bad for sleep because it can disrupt your melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. And guess what happens the next day when you don't sleep well? More cravings. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. So we talked about how sugar hits your brain first. Now let's talk about the gut. Your gut is often called the second brain, and sugar has a massive impact on your gut microbiome. When you eat sugar, it feeds the unhealthy microbiome in your gut, which leads to things like candida, inflammatory bacteria, yeast. And these microbes are not passive. They actually send chemical signals to your brain through the vagus nerve, basically saying, give us more sugar. So sometimes those cravings you're feeling are literally coming from the gut microbiome. And sugar damages the lining of the gut. It can lead to something called leaky gut, where tiny gaps form in the intestinal lining. And when that happens, inflammatory particles leak into the bloodstream. And that can trigger bloating, gas, food sensitivities, chronic inflammation. And over time, it can contribute to autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, lupus, MS, Hashimoto's, inflammatory bowel disease, and more. And I'll share something really personal here. I know this firsthand because I've been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and it is an autoimmune disease strongly connected to gut inflammation. So if I sound passionate about this topic, it's because I don't want you to learn the hard way like I did. I'm literally praying that some of you listening today catch this now, because what feels like a small daily habit today can become a life-altering health issue down the road. So let's get to the good stuff. How to break the cycle of sugar cravings. The good news is you don't break sugar cravings with willpower. You break them by stabilizing your physiology. And when you do that, cravings naturally will start to drop. So number one is to stabilize your blood sugar, so you're not getting those spikes and drops like I talked about before. Every meal should include protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Healthy fats slow digestion and stabilize your energy. Fiber helps regulate your blood sugar. And of course, protein fuels your body and helps you feel full longer. And a simple rule that I like to talk to my clients about is that half your plate should be fibrous veggies and a hand-sized protein and a thumb size of healthy fats. Number two is to mineralize and hydrate. So many sugar cravings are actual mineral cravings. Hydration really matters, aiming for at least 64 ounces of water per day and adding a good quality mineral salt or electrolytes. I'm a huge fan of the LMNT electrolytes because they taste good and you're getting your magnesium, potassium, and sodium. But that will help reduce your cravings. And then another great one is magnesium glycinate because it also supports your nervous system regulation and reduces cravings. Take that one at bedtime. And for some people, myo-inositol can also be helpful. It is a supplement that has been shown to also help with sugar cravings. And then finally, number three, replace, don't restrict. When cravings hit, choose stabilizing options instead of triggers. For example, instead of having a cookie or a donut, ice cream, instead go for nut butter with a piece of fruit, some Greek yogurt with cinnamon, beef sticks, energy bites, herbal teas, something that's going to fuel your body, help you feel better without giving you those sugar spikes. We really can break the habit loop of sugar, but the thing is, sugar can actually be very emotional. It can be a reward, it can be comfort, it can be an escape. So we want to replace that old pattern with something new, like getting out for a walk instead of sitting on the couch eating the sugar, doing some breath work, having a high protein snack, tea with some honey or agave, something that's going to give you that sweet fix. Maybe journaling what you're feeling. And what that does is you're training your brain to choose regulation instead of reaction. So in closing, I want to remind you that breaking the sugar habit, kicking the sugar dragon to the curb isn't just about willpower, it's about biochemistry. Understanding how your brain, your body, and your gut respond to sugar, it helps you to stop being controlled by it and to start making choices that will support your energy, your hormones, and your future health. Because every time you eat processed sugar, your insulin spikes, fat storage increases, cravings grow stronger, and over time, it accelerates your aging and increases your risk for disease. But your body is incredibly capable of renewal. So when you stabilize your blood sugar, support your gut, nourish your body, everything begins to shift. Your energy improves, your mood stabilizes, your sleep gets better, and your metabolism kicks into motion again, and you become a fat burning machine. Your body was designed to heal when given the right environment. So I want to encourage you, put into practice these few things today, whether it's supplementing, whether it's doing different things like walking, and whether it's supplementing, whether it's doing different activities to help you get out of the habit of sugar, or maybe it's replacing it with a healthy sweet treat instead. Because my friend, you truly can slay that sugar dragon. And your body and your brain and your skin, everything will be thanking you. If this spoke to you today, please let me know in the comments. Do you have a hard time with the sugar dragon? Or what are some simple things that you do to help slay the sugar dragon? I always love to hear from you. So like, share, comment, and let's go design a life we love.